I'm going to share this web page calendar that I created. This doesn't have the same functionality that the calendar apps that are already out there has. This is just basically messing around with web design. And everything that you put in it, you have to deal with the source code, the code behind. You can't do anything on the outside of the interface here and then click a button and have it stay. I don't have any of that functionality at all. So this is very much beginner and very much about design. This whole page is basically a table, and this is my style sheet, JAN2016calendar for cascading style sheets. This is the HTML web page itself, jan.html. Let's go over the styles first. For the body of this page, I gave it a margin of 0 pixels and a padding of 0 pixels. The table, I gave it a border collapse. Now, if I take that and misspell border collapse by putting a Z in front of it, that's going to take that style off. And now I'm going to run the page, and you're going to see how differently it appears. See this background color of pink? You can't see it when border collapse is set to collapse. And if you like the way this looks, you don't have to have a weird background color. And I can show you if I misspell background color and then refresh my page, it doesn't look too bad when you have a neutral background color of white or maybe even black. But with pink, I thought that looked pretty ugly. But this is basically showing you the difference between having a border collapse set to collapse or not. And here I'm resetting my border collapse back the way it was. A border of thick black ridge, which if you ask me, it really looks more like gray instead of black. The background color I just showed you is pink, but you can't see it as long as this is set. It's got a padding of 5 pixels, a font size of 18 pixels, a width and a height of 100%, and a minimum width of 710 pixels. Let me show you, even though I have a width of 100%, why I had to set a min width of 710. So I'm going to misspell min width by putting the Z in front of it and saving. And I'm going to reload the page. Now I'm going to take this and try to shrink this page even smaller. What I want you to pay attention to are the words next to the numbers, like rent, car, elect for electric, and cable. Watch how they drop down underneath the number, and watch how that makes our squares for the days of the week look no longer uniform with all the rest. Do you see how this text area is kind of more rectangular? This is more like profile, as this is more like landscape. This falls down completely. It just kind of looks like crooked teeth or something, you know, it just doesn't look nice. So as you open up your page and everything settles in, and you want it to maintain a uniform look, you find a minimum width where as soon as the first one drops down, like this one dropped down, you want to experiment with your width until you get right where it doesn't go anymore. Where when you try to force it in, it won't go in anymore. For me, that worked at 710 pixels. I had to play with it. I had to stretch it. I had to keep changing this a little bit until I found it. But once I found it, I was good to go. Now when I try to go in, it only goes in so far and then it stops. So I don't end up with any jagged teeth looking situation. Okay, so that's the deal with the minimum width. My table header and my table border, my table data cell and my table header tags, I also gave a border of thick black ridge. If I take that off by misspelling border, watch what your table looks like when I refresh the page. There's no more borders. You might like this better. You might think this looks cleaner. Completely up to you. See, there's no border around Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and there's no borders around the days either. I kind of like borders, containers, whatever. So I'm putting it back. The background color is beige, which obviously you see that. And then padding is 5 pixel. Now you might say, wait a minute, it's not beige up here. and this is a table header. Well, because down here I gave the table header a more specific style to itself. I gave it a height of 25 pixels, which definitely makes it shorter than the rest of these, a background color of gray, and a width of 14%. So even though both of these styles have this, I overrode the table header style with a few things that are unique only to it. If I take this off, again by misspelling, and then run this, well, it's fine with the width for the most part, even though some of these look longer than others. Can you see that? Can you see how Wednesday and Sunday looks longer than Monday and Tuesday? Yeah, I don't like that. I would definitely want my table header to have 14%. And I'll show you how I got 14%. And I do like to have the background color different as well. Let me go back. Yeah, I like that better. I think I skipped something. Oh, my table data cell itself. I'll get back to this 14%. Let me get to the style that I skipped. My table data cell, I gave it its own unique style, a height of 20%, and font weight bolder, so that when I type in a 3 and the name of the bill, it's darker. Let me make this more half and half. I don't really need to open this up anymore. If I misspell TD for this extra special TD style and run it, do you see how this all lightened up? The numbers and the words lightened up. This gives you a fairer appearance that you actually might like better. It looks more refined. But I'm going to keep my table data with the font weight bolder and the height of 20%. Okay, so I went over TD. Let's go over why I decided to pick 14% for my table header. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns in a week. If you go to your calculator and put in the division 1 over 7, 1 divided by 7 equals, it gives you this decimal, 0.1428, blah, blah, blah. That's 14%. So each one of these headers, I want to be 14% or 1/7 of the width of the window. I want it to maintain a consistent width no matter if it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday spelled really long. Maybe that's why that looked larger. But I want the width to be the same across the board. So that's how I got 14%. If you had a table that had only four columns, let's just say you had 4 columns for whatever reason, then you would take the division 1 over 4, which I think you already know the answer to that, but just to show you, 1 over 4, 1 divided by 4 is going to be 25%. You're going to set your, where is it? Where's my 14%? Right here. You're going to set your width for that table header to whatever percent so that it's even across the table. All right, I don't need that no more. Because everybody doesn't know what 1/7 that stands for in percentage. It's a division problem, 1 divided by 7, and so just want to remind you for those who don't like math. Okay, then I gave myself a special tag, pound month. Pound stands for the ID, and if we go to I'll just read the style first. Background color purple, color white, text align left. You can pretty much guess what's being styled there. This bar right here. And this bar right here, incidentally, covers 7 columns. So we're going to give it a call span of 7. That means this one area is going to be the length of 7 columns. And if I run really quick to my HTML web page, if you go down here to the body, the table, the first table row, this is actually a table row, we have a table header tag. That's where I gave it ID equals month. Call span equals 7. I already told you what call span meant. ID equals month means that's a special style that I created. And this is how you make that style, pound month. All right, then I created a special tag. Oh, I'm sorry. Background color purple is obvious. Color would be the text. If I wanted to, that's why it says January 2016 is in white. If I wanted to change that to any other color, if I wanted the text to be larger than that, I could actually change my color to whatever, and I could put my font size, because I think I would like my font size a little bigger. My font size, let's say that it's, I don't know, let's try 2EM, which means 2 times the size of all the rest of the font. Yeah, I kind of like that. Kind of makes sense that your header of your calendar has a larger font than everything else. So I think I'll leave that. You could also, if you don't want to do 2EM for 2 times the size, you could give it an actual pixels, 35 pix, which that made it just a little bit smaller. So 35 pixels, I could leave it. You could try, I really don't know what percent is going to be. I don't know, let me say 25%. I've never done a percent for font size before. I'm curious. Ooh, okay. I don't even know what to say about that. Can't even see it. That's like 25% of the, that doesn't even look like it's 25% of this. I don't know what that means. 25, maybe that's 25% of what the normal font size is. That makes sense, and that's really horrible. So yeah, I don't want to do that. That would probably be like 0.25 EM. Let's see, that's probably the exact same thing. Yeah, it didn't move. I think I want to stay with the 35 pixel deal. That seemed to look okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I created my own tag called pay, and I'll show you where I put that. On paydays, I put a beginning tag and a closing tag around these numbers. Background color yellow, color green. Color green, see when I didn't add a color to it, I'll show you with no color. It's just black highlighted with a background of yellow. I just didn't feel like that stood out enough. I guess it doesn't really look horrible, but I think that's why I gave it a color of green, because I think I thought at the time that it made it look like it stood out a little bit more, but it might actually make it look gaudy, so you don't necessarily need to give that a color. But let me show you where I put the pay tag. Let me look for the 8th of January in the January.html. Let me look. You see these numbers? I'm going to go to 8. See, here's the beginning pay tag and the ending pay tag that I created myself. Okay, back to this. We're almost done with the styles. Text area. The text area is this little white box here. I gave it a height of 75 pixels, a width of 100%, resize none, and color of black. The color, again, is going to be the text when you type in there. If I don't, I'll show you, I've done this in another video. If you don't set resize to none when you're dealing with text areas, you get this little set of dots down here where the user can play around with the size of it. And for another type of web page, this might be really cool. You might have a header and a content area and maybe a navigation. You might want to let the user decide how big they want this, that, or whatever. Or you might put an image in here. Actually, I've never tried to put an image in a text area. I don't know if you can even do that. But in any event, you might find it fun and useful for the user to be able to play games with the size. But in this particular situation, absolutely not, because that's just retarded. So we're going to take the resize and put it back on there correctly, resize to none. Color black. I created another tag of my own and I called it bill and I gave it color purple. Well, you can obviously tell where the color purple is, it's going to surround these bill names depending on when they're due. So if I go back to my HTML web page, let me look up the third. The third, here it says elect for electric. There's the bill tag, beginning and ending bill tag. So in my CSS, I gave it a color of purple. You can color it anything you want. The last tag that I have is IMG for image. I put an image right here in this particular area right before January 2016. I gave the image a border of 15 pixels black ridge. If I change this to 5 pixels of black ridge, watch how smaller this little border around the smiley face gets. It's really small. So you can play games with that all you want to give it an effect that you like. You can also, instead of black ridge, you can try outset. That's a border. That changes it a bit. You could try inset, which all that does is change the shadow or the illusion of the shadow. You can try double. That's a border. You can try dotted. Ooh, that's kind of clever. And you can try dashed. And there might be more borders, but that's all that I can think of right now. Ooh, dash did nothing. I actually started off with ridge. I thought that looked kind of nice, but after seeing dotted, I kind of think I want to go with dotted. That looks kind of different. Looks more like a swish. Okay, border radius of 20 pixels for that image. The lower the number for the border radius, there's 10 pixels, it's going to give us more of a square. Ooh, that's not nice. And the higher the number, it's going to give us more of a circle. Let's see what this does. Ooh, that's a total circle. So let me go back to my 20 because I kind of like that swish illusion. Yeah, I want to go with that. And height of 20 pixels and width of 20 pixels. Obviously, depending on how large or small you saved the image itself, this image I saved as 50 by 50 because I wanted to create it as an ICO file so that it could show up in the title area. So when you enlarge the height and the width, since this was saved as a small file, it's going to get blurry when I try to stretch it to 200. So let me show you how that looks. Yeah, see how ooh, that did something strange to the border too. Well, it is a black dotted border. It just gave me a cool illusion of a swish when I had such a small image there. So I'm going to go back to my 20 by 20. But you see how fuzzy that is? If you have an image, like a picture of you or your family or your friends or your dog or a nature scene or whatever, if you don't save it as a really small file, then it'll look nicer when you make it bigger. But this is only really meant to be a small file size. And that's it for the CSS. So let me go to the actual web page itself. HTML tag beginning, there's the end. Head tag, there's the beginning and the end. Here's the link tag that gives us this shortcut smiley face up here right next to the title. It's in the head. Link rel equals shortcut icon, href equals smile.ico, type equals image / x icon. Here's the title tag, January 2016. That's the white January 2016 here. Here's the link for my style sheet that I just read off there, that whole batch of styles. Link. rel equals style sheet, type equals text / CSS, href equals jan.css because that's what I named it. There's the end of the head. Here's the body. The only thing that is in the entire body all the way here is the ending body, ending HTML, is a table. There's the ending table tag. And there's the beginning table tag. The first thing in our table is going to be a TR, which is a table row. This purple background thing right here. We have a TH tag with an ID of month and a call span of 7. To remind you what the ID equals month gives us, we go back here and it's this pound month. And that's this style set right here. Anything you change in here is going to change this table header right here. We have a call span of 7, which means that this is going to go across 7 columns because there's 7 sections for 7 days of the week. If I change this call span to 2 and save it and refresh the page, then our January section is only going to go across 2 columns. And you're going to see this background of pink that you couldn't see before. We don't want that. You might want that for a different type of page or different form or something, but I definitely don't want it for this. Okay, here's an image tag. img src for source equals smile.ico, alt equals smiley, and title equals smiley. The title will give us a tooltip if something happens to your picture. Let's Z that out. Misspell it. Now watch, this little smiley guy is going to disappear. Actually, before I do that, let me go to my image and enlarge it. Let me enlarge it back to that blurry 200 pixel by 200 pixel because I want to show you what the alt tag does. Okay, first of all, I misspelled the image. So this smiley guy is going to be a broken image, and then you're going to see the word smiley with white font, just like January is. And then when I move my cursor over this area where the picture is broken, you're going to see a pop-up that says smiley. Actually, to show you the difference, I'm going to put the pop-up in all caps. So you'll see the difference. The alt will be in lowercase and the tooltip, which is using the title keyword, will be in caps. Okay. See, it's broken, lowercase smiley, and when I just barely go over where the picture should be, there's the tooltip that says smiley. Just pops up and goes away. All right. Let me fix my name of my image, and let me go back to the height and width of 20 pixels for that image tag. Now, if you have a bunch of images in your web page, you're not necessarily going to want to set the image tag itself to a height and width of 20 pixels because you're going to have different sized images. If that's the case, let's just take that off of the image tag, then you will put the height and width right here, right inside the image tag. Whoops. Height equals 20 in double quotes, and width equals 20. And now let's see if that makes any changes. What if I want to make it 200 again? Yeah, this might actually be better. Unless you know that whatever your page is, you want all your images to be the same. If you know you want all your images to be the same, then you can go on ahead and put that height and width in the image style, and you won't have to type this over and over again in every image tag, height and width. But if you know you're going to have a variety of sizes of images in your page, then be exclusive to the image tag itself as far as what height and width you want to serve it up. There's the January 2016 in that table header, and there's the end of that table row. Here's another table row, and in it we've got a bunch of table header tags, TH tags for table header, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. The next table row we have, also to remind you, the table header in the CSS, I had that special background color gray with 14%, height 25 pixels. I gave it that special style so that it wouldn't be just like the table data cells. Here's the beginning of this table row right here, and there's the end. Try to get it all at one. Because January does not start until Friday, I have to allocate space for those table data cells, but just don't put anything in them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 empty table data cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 empty table data cells. Here's a table data cell, here's a table data cell, and very, very important, the end of the table row. So you will have 7 columns, 7 table data cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some are empty, some are not. If you mess up your beginning table row and your ending table row tag, you'll mess up your whole table. For instance, if I take this table row and move it, I'm going to cut it and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so now I have my pair, but I don't have the proper number of table data cells in there. So let's refresh the page. It breaks your page. It breaks your table and it makes it look like butt. So you have to be careful about your placement and your numbers of table data cells that belong in each row. And there we go. That's why when you give yourself notes in your code like this, it's kind of good because you can section, like here I have week 1 and here I have week 2, and I know in between the end of each week I have to have an ending table row before I go to the next week. Plus it just helps because I could actually copy and paste an entire week at a time if it matches. This won't match because this obviously has some empty table data cells, but I could copy this and then paste it here and paste it here, and the only thing I need to change is what I want on specific days. I need to change the numbers, obviously, to match for a calendar, and then I need to put in whatever bill or whatever title I want for that particular day. Okay, so the first table data cell that actually has anything in it for the calendar, we have a number 1. I have my bill tags, and inside my bill tag I have the word rent. The bill tag, to remind you, right here gave me the color purple, so rent comes out purple. If I change that to blue and run it, now they're all blue. They're all blue because the blue tag is what changes. Everywhere you use that tag, you get the change automatically instead of having to individually stylize each little section. I kind of like it blue. I think I'll leave it. Yeah, it stands out a little bit more. Alrighty. Text area disabled. If you pay your rent, let's pretend today was rent day and we paid it. Let's say paid, and you could do this any way you want, 400. Check number 2525, confirmation number, blah, blah, blah. All right, save it and run it. Refresh your page, and it just populates this text area. And because it goes, you need more space than is allocated in this tiny square, you get this scroll bar that gives you all this information. So no matter how long you ramble on and on and on and on and on and on and on, it will save every little bit of it. Pretty cool. Okay. And let me rerun this so that goes away. And the next table data cell is the second. And all we have there, nothing special, nothing due on the second. We just have the text area disabled there because every time you have a new month, you want to have a text area for every day. And you might just not have a bill due that day, but you might give yourself some other kind of note. Whatever. This is your calendar to write whatever you want. And that basically is just repeated over and over again for each week. You got a table row tag. Now let me show you what happens if you miss a tag. Let's take that tag out. It may or may not show up here, This still looks the same, but it could cause problems later on. When you click on this table tag, if it doesn't turn purple, like you repeatedly click it and it'll turn green because everywhere there's a TR is going to be green. But if it doesn't turn purple like this one does, then you know you're missing its pair. So you have to go, oh, well, where should it be? And it should be there. So you put it back, and when you put it back and click on it, you get that purple, and it just helps. That's why I use Notepad++, because the colorization helps so much with doing code. So that was week 2, nothing special. The 8th, the only thing that I didn't show you is the pay tag, and it highlights the payday. And again, I made my own pay tag. Background color yellow, color green. Here's another table row. This is for the 3rd week. The only thing we got is a car on the 13th. Everything else is copy and paste except for the number of the month, day of the month. Here's week 4. Well, here's the end of the table row, beginning of this table row, all the way to the ending of that. The only thing in the 4th was this cable bill right here. Oh, I'm sorry, and the payday right here. Week 5, there's the beginning table row tag, and it looks like week 5 didn't have anything special. So in week 5, the only thing that was different was the number inside of the table data cell. Nothing is in any of the text areas and nothing special next to the number. Week 6, there's the table row tag. You got the 31st, and that's the only day of January right there. All the rest are just like we started, empty table data tags, until you get to the end of the table row, end of the table, end of the body, end of the HTML, and end of this video.